It is Tuesday night. Welcome back to the Sick Podcast Anvil Show. So much to talk about, but in all actuality, most things stayed the same. All but one. But we'll get into all of that. Jimmy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Anvil Show. The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Yes, sir. It's going to be sick. And before we jump into it, let's get a word from our sponsor. Please and thank you. Playoffs. We talking about playoffs?
Playoffs?
Where we're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Okay, DraftKings. Unfortunately, there's no touchdowns to bet on for the Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs and all that stuff. That's unfortunate. Yes, it is. But still, by downloading DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code SICKSPORTS. That's code SICK Sports for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Okay. All right. Let's get into this thing. Let's talk about all the things. Let's talk about why the things. Let's talk about, oh my God, they're not much new things. What's up, Kevin? Welcome to the show. I have been making posts. I have been saying folks are going to crash out. I have been seeing folks literally crash out. So boys, are you crashing out?
No, I am not.
No. Why would we crash out? Why would we crash out when we know that we're going to go through the same damn deja vu that we've been going through?
Oh, horse shit.
Okay.
Take your negativity ass, go sprinkle some fairy dust on it, and let's go.
Wait a minute. First off,
Let's go. The shit's changing.
You know what, Clyde? Get to your point. Because
First
you know what? I have an analogy for Pat that he's not going to be able to just go ahead and just skim past.
Yeah.
all right. So I have
can
to
do
be like a
anything I want.
judge. I got to bang our gavel. I'm slow. I'm behind the power curve today. Hold on. Okay, that's the official sound of the anvil. We are live. We are hot. As you can tell, CJ and Pat are already at it. I'm just going to play mediator and maybe potential troll a little bit. This is the most Colts shit
All right,
ever.
first of all, you don't play troll. You are troll.
Okay, well, this is the most Colts shit ever. Like literally when this came out hours after the dub, I knew
It wasn't even hours, was it? It was like
an hour. Yeah, I think it was like an hour. I'm gonna give old Jimmy Boy an hour.
No, it was
Okay.
it literally. It's just like it was
quick.
It was like 30 to 45 minutes after.
I was going to say, I thought it was within the hour.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Let's go within the hour. Nevertheless, what's awesome is because there was already this train that was moving at lightning speed trying to get to Black Monday. And I mean 60-some odd thousand people, however many people fill up Lucas Oil Stadium, and every other Colts fan that's not a season ticket member was ready to get on the train Black Monday and see where it was going to take us because we was ready to drop some people off. Oh, but they stayed.
Train didn't come, did it?
You will not be getting off quite yet. And I'm sure Patrick was absolutely ecstatic.
Yes.
As I could tell, Chris, along with some of your old mob folks, you were probably very distraught.
If I can interject real quick.
Jump in there.
Isn't this where we're at as a fan base? Some are happy like me, and some are pissed off like Chris. Going through this season, I said this team had no vision. They had no identity. And right now, as a fan base, I feel the same way. Because there's two sides of the aisle.
Happy New Year, Teresa. It is. Hey, look, man, we have been at odds since probably week 6. Whenever the AR news came out that he was being benched, that's when the massive divide between what Colts fans want, what Colts fans think began to take place. And it's only gotten progressively worse. Okay. And I have been saying this is a very unrealistic, unstable fan base at times. We have called for heads of people that are absolutely the stars of the team. Jonathan Taylor, he makes a mistake. Oh my God. He was all but excommunicated. Then the next week he comes back and we love him again. Like, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on. It's wild. And so to me, this season just needed to be wrapped in a bow and tossed off into the fucking ocean somewhere, never to be brought up again. Now, did I want wholesale changes? Clyde would say, I'm kind of in, kind of out on Steichen. I'm kind of in, kind of out on Ballard because who's out there? Most people say, who cares? Give me anybody else. But I do want a little bit of like, who would have been a better choice at GM? We don't have to break that down, but who would have been?
Oh, Gripson's on the market.
He loves it. Huh?
Gripson's on the market.
No,
is that who you guys want back?
Don't be asinine.
You happy there? You happy there? You bunch of docket dicks. Is that what you want? You think Gibson's a better GM than
whoa?
Why are you than Ballard?
We're not gonna do that.
What are you doing?
And the thing is, I'm not even gonna give homeboy the opportunity to go ahead and say I've been back and forth with him. I called him out the other day, and he didn't want no part. He wanted no parts.
Who?
But he doesn't want any part with an intellectual mind.
Who?
No,
Docket.
Dan Dockich?
Dan Jokic.
Oh.
Did you say Jokic?
Dan Jokic. Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. We're not gonna get him into this. Look, Jeremy said, hey, Gribson, as you call him, real name Grigson, one more. This he did. He also had Andrew Luck.
He also had a generational quarterback that he refused to give an O-line.
Yeah, Andrew Luck. I think it was Pagano.
He's the guy that started our downfall. So don't tell me about his wins, because it was one guy that won all those wins for him, and that was Andrew Luck. He had nobody, and T.Y. Hilton. I'm sorry, he had T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, look
at
Adam J.
He's the reason we're in the shape that we're in now.
Adam J.
He's the reason that Andrew Luck retired. 12 days before the season starts?
Yes, absolutely. But the thing is, we can talk about, like, we know that Grigson was absolute horse manure. We know that. But the thing is, we also can't say he's the reason why, because we have had, if we're talking about this being year 2 of Ballard and saying that Grigson is the reason why we are the way that we are right now, then that makes sense. We're in year 8.
9? Give him his.
We're in year 8 going into 9. We can't blame Grigson anymore. Ballard has had more than enough opportunity to get out there and establish his team, establish culture, establish this roster, make sure that it's competitive, make sure that he makes those moves to make things the way they are. And we see what the current state of the team is. Nobody from that Grigson era is still here.
Well, here's the deal.
Everybody from the Ballard era is. The only person that's maybe a holdover is Ryan Kelly.
Yeah, and he's probably gone.
He's probably going to – I won't say what he's going to do, but I don't think he's coming back. But apparently Mr. Ballard is under the weather, and his presser is going to be Wednesday morning at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be must see TV, and that's going to set us up for beautiful quotes for Thursday's show. Hey, look, man, here's the deal. Okay, before we even talk about the good news, which is Gus Bradley no longer has a call sheet
Yes.
for the Indianapolis Colts, we should clap that up. Where's the applause
I've
button?
even got a bad shoulder and I'm clapping on that shit.
Yes, exactly. Look at you. He just like he saved
Like,
that.
redo the surgery.
He's like it's gonna be sore, but damn it, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, good. Before we talk about the positives that is that, because that is a damn good positive, I think we should just really walk it down and let's stick with this. There's a lot of good. I won't say good. Let me refrain. There's a lot of minds that say the good in this is that the three-headed monster, GM, head coach, quarterback, stay yoked together for another season, which gives them 3 of the 4 for his rookie contract. We know we had some errors in year 1. We also know we had some very, very much growing pains and points in year 2, which only to me means that year 3, we have to kind of get things together. But the other side,
baby.
Okay. The other side of that is, had they done something to completely, kind of divide that, would whoever come in, new GM or new HC, or hell, we say later on we're not going to, keep Anthony as the starter, is that a lame duck move for the future, right? So I feel like a lot of people who know football really well say these things have to stay tied together for so long, and then it's almost like, hey, either they got it, they keep going, or you dismiss everybody at the same time. Thoughts on that?
I felt like it was maybe a little bit truer when it came to Steichen and AR. Because the thing is, you have Steichen and AR like going into his 3rd year. Like the 3rd year should definitely be a period where you can really just evaluate, because then we've now gotten over the whole he didn't get to play a full year. He pretty much almost had, the opportunity to go ahead and play this whole entire year, but internal drama, whatever. And then, of course, those last 2 games due to the back issue. Okay, fine.
50% of the game started of the 34 that potentially he could have started.
Exactly. And the thing is, to me, that's fine. But the thing is, now he's essentially has a full season under his belt. So that means that when we're going into this 3rd season, things in the off season, and mind you, there's nothing that's indicated that he has to have surgery or anything like that. So he's going to have the opportunity to have this off season to be able to just come in and be healthy from the beginning of off season, go to OTAs, do what he's supposed to do, go to training camp, without there being like last year. Like last year, I think even I personally gave him I gave him a pass because of the fact that he was still recovering from the shoulder injury.
Shoulder, true.
So the thing is, now he's going to have that full off season. So that means that year 3 to me is probably more so the make or break year, because of the fact that now you're going to have to go and see what you have by the end of this year. If it's good, you're going to have the 5th year option. If he doesn't look any better than what he looked like this year, then essentially that you might just potentially have to see exactly what you're going to be able to do moving forward.
But I think that's what it always have to be. Before I punt it to you, Pat, I feel like you always have to give a rookie quarterback at least 3 full years. I mean, he's got a 4-year deal, which ultimately, that would be, okay, there's no need to retain this guy. We can let him go, or he can sit for his 4th year, and then we move on after that. But you got to give him 3 full years, in my opinion, as a rookie. He was the youngest quarterback in the NFL, starting the year off, stuff like that. So there was a lot that was put on his shoulders, and I'm not trying to give him a pass, but I am trying to absolutely speak some truth into this. Like, yes, we have the remnants of Manning and Luck, and then everything that came before Anthony Richardson. And yes, he wanted to initially take that mantle and be the next great one. But bro, we talking about a kid, and damn what playing experience he got. I don't even care about that. But we know that matters. Like, I don't like when people directly compare him to Jaden or directly compare him to Bo Nix. These dudes played in college for 5 years. And now with this new college rule, we gonna see more dudes coming out at 25 years old because they just gonna ride it out in college until they rot.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking them. I'm actually commending them. They're doing exactly what I think they should do if they got that much experience. So give them their credit, but don't make that a direct comparison. So year 3 is his year.
Yeah.
We all know the potential. We all seen the big talents. He's got to put it together. If he doesn't, let's move on. So what Clyde Oliver is not going to do all summer or try to refrain to is giving him a nickname. You got to earn that. We've been calling him AR5, all that. I'm going to call him Anthony Richardson until he earns AR. That's just what I'm going to do. And if he never earns that, then he moves on, and I hope that he still has, a solid career somewhere. But now let me punt it to you, Pat. I know that you're happy that your dad's staying. I know that you're excited that relationship. Hold on. That relationship keeps growing. But I'm going to come to you directly now, straight to you, and don't give me no BS. Since he's still here, can he, and I mean this, can he remain on the same track doing what he's been doing for the past 8 seasons and sell us something different? When I say the same track, let me clarify that. Draft. I love my picks. I'm just going to flip through free agency, not really bring nobody in, maybe one guy, but draft. I love my picks. Can he keep doing that now for his 9th season and still get buy-in from the fan base? The floor is yours.
There's several tracks here that we got to break down. Okay? That track 1 is what you just mentioned. Is he going to stick with the draft and say the hell with free agency? I don't know what the man's going to do. And I hope he can bring in some free agency that will make this team better. His veteran players are saying, we need this. His younger players are saying, I welcome this. Because Anthony, I think it was James Boyd asked him about, if the Colts brought in another quarterback, how would you feel? And he, hey, that's fine. I'm a competitor. Right. I'm still going to do what I got to do. I love to compete. Bring it on. So your youngest player and your oldest player probably, which I don't know if Defoe's our oldest or not, but are both are.
Flacco's the oldest player.
Everybody in the locker room is saying, yes, we need that competition factor. Yes, we can't get complacent because we've all got new contracts. We need to know, we have to fight for our jobs, basically. And that's what bringing free agents in does. It will make your team better, and it will make it more competitive. So, yes, I hope he changes that and brings in some free agents, but I'm not upset with his draft picks. All right, so that's track 1. Track 2 is, if this locker room ever starts going sideways again, I need Chris Ballard at the first hint of it going sideways to go in there with a ball bat and get this shit straightened back out, because I don't ever want to go through another season what we just did.
Okay.
And I'm not even going to bring up the tap out on Anthony, because to me that was just being so young and inexperienced.
Fair. Let's not even go back down now.
Okay, and if anybody brings that happened, and it was part of our season drama, but to me that wasn't even a teardrop in the ocean for what it was.
Tyreek quit, AB quit. Aaron Rodgers said, it's a good chance you should probably go with the other guy now. We're getting our ass kicked when they were playing Buffalo 2 weeks ago. I mean, shit happens, right? But the only thing we remember is this. But anyway, as you continue.
So that's track 2. If this locker room goes sideways, I don't want him to wait for his head coach or his veteran players or his DC or anybody else to get it back in track. I want him to go in there with a Louisville Slugger and get it right back on track before it even gets off a track. because I do not want to go through another drama-filled season like this year. I cannot stand that shit.
And
Drives
which
me
is
nuts.
wild, before you go to your track 3, is because he's done that before. When we had the gambling thing, he got Isaiah up out of there. Last year, there's a couple guys, I can't remember who the dudes were. They got out of there.
It was Isaiah McKenzie and Tony
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So they got up out of
And we
there.
still don't know.
Rogers
If
got up out
somebody
of
said
there.
something, they killed a bald eagle or something. I still don't know what those guys.
No one
That
knows.
That bald eagle story was separate from their whole thing. Like, and so the thing is, the bald eagle thing was like something
Oh, shit, I didn't
completely
even know it was
different.
a fucking bald eagle thing.
Yeah,
Okay, Pat.
I don't even know what that was. I still don't.
I'm
That's
just saying
hilarious.
that some people are saying that's why he let him go because they
Okay.
killed a bald eagle or something.
Okay, we shouldn't laugh at that. That's America's bird. Let me fucking relax. But what's track 3? Give me track 3.
Track 3. Good God, where'd it go?
Wow.
I
39
definitely deserve
seconds.
that because I definitely went have a brain fart right now.
Okay, never mind. Don't worry about
Move
it.
on.
Moving
Well,
on.
I'll get back to track 3.
Okay, so Chris, now I'll come back your way, right? So now again, we know that it'll be very desperate, almost like if us married folks out there, if you tell your significant other, "Hey, you don't do this for me," and then you see them do it intently, does it always feel the same? We've heard Chris Ballard say, "Hey, this is my philosophy, this is my way, and if it gets me fired, so be it." So I
Yes.
say that to say, does he still walk in there kind of shrewd and kind of to his guns, like this is who I am, knowing that nobody, knock on wood, a few are actually happy that he's back, but the majority is not happy that he's back? How can he sell the fans and even give hope that this team is going to be any different, operating the same manner? Like, he's got to change, right? But if he changes, is it forced? Do we feel like it's actually sincere? Does it just seem like, hey, I'm doing this so you'll shut up? Like, how do you feel about that?
It's if he goes and he actually makes significant moves in free agency, and it's not necessarily like trying to get like the top who would be the projected top 5 free agents out there, but you're actually going in and grabbing those spots that we've been talking about. The thing that Pat hates when I say grabbing things like a veteran cornerback or grabbing things, because the thing is now, Juju Brents in his first game back was hurt again.
That was unreal.
And I like Juju, but the thing is, it's like the hope was that he was going to be the guy who was going to be able to step up big time. And now it's looking like he's not going to be that guy because he's had more games out than he's actually played. Like we've had very, very little from him. And then, how much hope do we have that he'll be able to come in next season and be able to play a full season? We don't have that. But then you go over to the tight end room. The hope was on Jelani Woods, and Jelani Woods was out for another year. So then how much are we hoping that Jelani Woods, in his 4th year, where he hasn't played literally in the last 2 years, how much hope are we putting on Jelani Woods, knowing that he hasn't been able to be healthy for the majority of his time in Indy and in his career? So for me,
facts.
If Chris Ballard goes, and let's just say day 1 or day 2, he manages to go and sign a cornerback, manages to sign a tight end, manages to possibly go ahead and supplement a safety if he chooses not to bring back Julian Blackman, then I will know that he's actually giving a damn. But then also I know that he knows that he can't rely on just his ways because of the fact that the man is stubborn. He's very stubborn, and we see it in his approach. We see it in the fact that he signed I think it's maybe about he signed six free agents, I think, in the last like 3 or 4 years, 2 of which were this past year on a 1-year deal. And it was over the hill Joe Flacco and Raekwon Davis. Did anybody see him this year? No.
Right. The track record ain't good.
We signed Isaiah McKenzie last year to potentially replace what's the name? Paris Campbell, and that was an absolute dumpster fire. Tony Brown we signed. I mean, Ibukum was probably like the most productive one that we had, and then we brought in Ngakwe, who we knew exactly what he was. We knew that he was a good pass rusher. That as soon as they start running the ball, he's going to look like the Tasmanian devil because he's going to be spinning every way except for the way he's supposed to. And I mean, we had Gilmore. So the thing is, even in what it is that we're talking about, it's like it's being serious about the moves that are being made, and. Yeah. And the thing is, and like that's but also on the flip side,
Adam's
that means he ain't changing shit. but the thing is also that's the reason why I'm so scared. The thing is, we've had 8 seasons of him not doing that. We've had 8 seasons of him just letting shit go by the wayside, drafting a couple guys. The back end of the draft, he ends up letting go anyway. And I mean, honestly, it's just like at the end of the day, Clyde. I just want to say it like this. You go to a barber. You go to a barber and you go get your hair cut. Everything goes fine. You go back 2 weeks later, you get another one. Still good. Okay, we're working with something right here. You go there the third time, see your hairline gets pushed back a little bit.
It resets the whole thing. Got to go find a new barber ASAP. There's no change.
Why wouldn't you allow him 2, 3, 4 more times to potentially be able to correct it?
I mean, because that's a major, in that analogy, that's a major setback. Like there's almost no coming back from.
But the difference here is Clyde has the
don't start no shit. Okay, I was about to say.
go to this barber or that barber.
Yeah,
we as fans don't have the option who we want in there.
Oh, well, I think he was talking about Irsay.
I'm talking about Irsay.
Watching them
because the thing is,
but if Irsay decided to give that barber another chance, hell, look at the Raiders owner. That son of a bitch should have switched barber years ago, but he's still going there.
Well, but we can also
that
say
shit
that
was funny.
Well,
his little straight.
Well, no. Let's not talk about him because he looks like the Mucinex monster. Like we're not gonna go that far. But the thing is, you also have to realize that with the Raiders, this Raiders team was the same team that said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna sign Gardner Minshew to a 2-year, $20 million deal, and then he's gonna compete for the starting job with Aiden O'Connell. That Raiders team is extremely unserious. They are unserious, and they have proven
I was just talking about his haircut.
No damn about nothing. You know, the haircut. No, the haircut is awful, but the team is awfuler. And I don't even know if that's a word, but it fits in this case.
So when you think about Ballard, okay, when you think about Ballard, we know like his merit. You know, a lot of people say he's probably a good guy. We understand that he evaluates talent. But that's only half of the story. It's always Billy Bean with him, right? Like I think that's been my biggest critique since the beginning. He wants to have this like amazing like find, and then that person becomes a star, and then the numbers always match. And like we've watched that puzzle try to be framed for 8 seasons, and it's never became a clear picture. And so where fans are with this thing is something has to happen, and if it doesn't, we have to do something immediately. But the problem is just like what you said. As fans, what's up, Seth? As fans, what can we do? We either support the team or we go away. And we see a lot of people who saying they're going away. Pat McAfee's not renewing tickets. Other fans saying they're not renewing tickets. They're getting off the ship until, Ballard gets off. So his presser is going to be interesting on Wednesday morning. It's going to be very interesting to see.
It's not Wednesday morning.
Oh, did they change it again?
Yeah,
because he's sick.
I know he's been sick, but initially they said it was pushed to Wednesday morning. So.
Teresa.
But anywho, I'll just say this: it's like this, man. For me, right? It's not make or break or anything. Like this is the most toxic year I've ever been a part of the Colts fan base. I can't take it anymore. Yeah. Like I love football, and football means a lot to me, but it's not the entire world that I live in. Calling players soft, calling them this, when most people can't throw a 5-yard out, and you're going to tell somebody who apparently couldn't walk one day he should be out there playing football is crazy. When you then hear that, oh shit, Michael Pittman actually had a fractured back, whatever the fuck that means. Damn, I guess we shouldn't have said he sucked so bad. Like that's where I am with this. I rarely discredit people for, oh, that's a soft dude. The only dude that I'm on record calling soft is KD. in basketball because he flipped sides and went to the team that he couldn't beat. I'm on record for that. But if a player can't play, like this is the same fan base that talked like you want to use Andrew Luck now as the comparison, but this is the same one who wanted death on that man when he said, I'm not playing football. I know it happened 14 days before the season or whatever it was, but the same fan base was at his neck and calling him everything. But now they want to compare and talk about how great he was. It's crazy. I can't live in that lane anymore. Right. I just can't live in that lane anymore.
That
so
back and forth lane. Yeah.
I have to remove myself. But let's talk about, before we get to the DC, let's talk about this since we're talking about ballot. Let's talk about the good. Not great, but good. You had three
Gus Bradley,
receivers.
though?
Well, not
my
yet.
bad. Okay.
We had three receivers with 800 yards or more. Variance on receptions, all the way from 37, I think, to the high of like almost 80. But everybody had 800 yards. Could we have produced more touchdowns? Of course. But everybody had 800 yards. Let's talk about the dog, number 28. Kind of season was kind of up in the air, but then he finished super strong. 1,431 yards, I think 11 tutties. 4.7 average over the season, still showing that I can do this when I'm healthy. And I think those are the positive parts, right? Should we have gotten more out of AD? Of course, those type of things. Did we get anything out of the tight end room? Absolutely not. But thinking about what our positives are, and most of them are on the offensive side, I think we have some core here to work with. And so I'm not going to say we as close as Shane Steichen, even though he's in the building, he's the head coach. But I don't think wholesale changes was going to fix this team. I think the right moves, the right veteran pieces, and that's what we have to do. So going back to support your point, Pat, without saying the exact same thing, I don't want to bring in veterans for competition. I'm done with that. You know what you got where you got them. Bring in veterans that are going to fucking play. That's what we need.
Yes.
I'm sick of like, oh, let's just stockpile some mid-level guys and they'll fight, and maybe they'll take your job. I'm done with that shit. DeForest Buckner's a starter. Check. Kenny Moe's a starter. Check. You know who the starters are.
Yes.
Look at the holes.
Yes.
This dude needs to fucking go. That dude needs to fucking go. Whoever that is. That's what I want from veteran free agency. I'm done with like bringing in some dudes that are going to scrap. Fuck that.
No.
We need to pay dudes that actually produce.
Now, if you remember what I said bring it with free agency, bring them in to compete and make this team better.
You said that, but a lot of people will hear that and it sounds like how our GM speaks. Competition. I get that. That is true. That's how you build a winning program, but I feel like that's how you sustain a winning program. You have to build it first. And this is not a winning program yet. So sustain it by keeping the competition high, keeping everybody sharp, but you got to build it first. And right now, it's not built strong enough to say this is what we're doing. We're on this mode, if you will. But that's just me. Okay. So yeah, 36 receptions as a tight end is crazy. But yeah, he's right. Free agency pool is not that strong this year. There's going to have to be some. But here's the deal. Like you look at guys like Amir, what's the name, Robertson for the Lions.
Oh, Amik Robertson.
Amik
Robertson.
Yeah, from the Lions. Like he wasn't highly touted, but they done their homework and they paired him with Brian Branch, who they drafted, and guess what? It worked out pretty damn good. Like, so there's got to be some deep level scouting, just like they do for the draft, to bring in the quality guys. But you can always have a successful free agency year, just like you can always have a successful draft year, even though the draft isn't always created equally every season. So we just got to get creative. But what we can have, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, we cannot say seventh rounders and dudes that's been on 3 and 4 teams in the last 2 seasons are key guys that are going to start in key positions. That fucking experiment has to be over. I'm sorry. For anybody that loves Samuel Womack, for anybody that loves Jalen Jones, for anybody that loves any of these dudes, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. That shit's over with. I'm done with that. So hopefully this new DC transition, whomever he may be, hopefully it's not an inside hire. I would throw that out there. Let's pray it's not an inside hire. Hopefully this new DC comes in, and when they're interviewing, they are able to, no kidding, bypass the bullshit. Because if I'm a DC that's being interviewed, I'm stepping on toes. I'm like, hey, what can you do for us? Honestly, what can you do for me? Like, this is the 31st defense. This is the 28th ranked defense. This is this and this and this and that and this. So in all honesty, how much, I don't want to say control, but how much freedom are you giving me to make wholesale changes? If I say I would like to see if there's a potential to trade this guy, to bring in this guy, is that a conversation we can have, or am I just in the chair and I wear the title DC?
Yes. And I
that's
think
what type of questions I'll be asking.
And to me, that's the most important part, because you have to, like, as a coordinator, you have to be able to have, you have to be able to have a certain amount of control when it comes to what you're looking for. And like I said, it's just like, we can talk about like some of the top defenses. We could talk about like the Zach Orrs of Baltimore. We could talk about the Brian Flores of the Minnesota Vikings. We can talk about these teams, or even Aaron Glenn for the Detroit Lions.
Spagnuolo.
These guys, Spagnuolo. Like, these guys have the input to be able to go and say, hey, it would be great if we can go ahead and make sure that we grab this guy to supplement. We grab this guy to do this and this guy to do that, because when you bring in a defensive coordinator, you're trusting their scheme. And the thing is, the one thing about defensive coordinators is, if they have a scheme, they have a certain player that they have. Now, there's just some players that are just going to they're going to fit in whatever scheme. Chris Jones, Myles Garrett, Pat Surtain. Like, those guys are just going to fit. They are universal scheme fits. But the thing is, especially in this, you have a guy in DeForest Buckner that, to me, is a universal scheme fit. And for me, also, I'm making sure that, DeForest Buckner is the guy who I think, because DeForest Buckner said, listen, I'm recruiting this offseason. And the thing is, making that statement out loud, I loved it. Because the thing is, he's saying, I'm going to be recruiting because we need help. And also, I'm going to be recruiting. So I respect Chris. I respect what he does. But he going to hear me. And
that's fair.
It's just like, that's what makes sense, because the thing is, he is the foremost veteran on the team, the most productive player that we have on that defense.
Fair.
And therefore, he should absolutely have a voice in what goes on, especially with this defense, because if he asks for, guys in the trenches, if he makes suggestions for who, may be good fits for who's going to be in certain spots, you trust him. Because the thing is, his body of work is the fact that this is somebody who year in and year out is mentioned among the top 10, even top 5 when it comes down to defensive tackles in the league. So the thing is, for me, he has the body of work. He's been in the Super Bowl before. He's been in the playoffs before. He's done all these things. So the thing is, you're going to trust him more than anything else. And the thing is, I think he's somebody that, especially with Chris Ballard, just be like, listen, who you got your eyes on? Like, that should be what Chris Ballard says. Because the thing is, I know DeForest Buckner, I want him to win. And I don't want this team to win just because it's a team I root for. But the thing is, I want DeForest Buckner to win because he's out there putting it all on the line. And you have all this BS going on around you. And for what? Fair. He came from a winning program to come into some shit. And it's been some shit.
Fair. Like, literally, he hasn't seen the playoffs since the first year we got him.
Exactly.
Believe. Yeah, 2020.
No,
so
yeah,
I mean, like, you're not wrong about any of these things, and we can critique it left and right. And like, I think whoever comes in, because we're sticking with the DC talk now. I feel like that person, what we have to get out of our minds is, I don't think it'll be a lateral move for anybody. All these big name DCs, but outside of like somebody like Saleh, who currently doesn't have a job. So will he get hired for another HC job right away? Maybe, maybe not. But it might be an opportunity to pick him up. I mean, the same thing happened to Spag, right? He got a chance to be a head coach, didn't go great. KC scooped him up. Now he's a hot topic, a hot commodity again. So I say that to say, people talking about the Spags, the Glens and whoever, those dudes are going to HC world.
Absolutely.
If they leave their current team. So it has to be somebody that's coming from a tree like that. I seen somebody say Wink Martindale. I'm definitely a fan because I'm a Wolverine fan. but does he want to leap back into the NFL? I don't know. I think his scheme would be amazing. I just don't think we have the players to pull it off because he's a press man guy, blitz heavy. Zone is not his thing. We would have to make wholesale changes, and Chris Ballard would have to get on board with those wholesale changes. But maybe, but I really like a guy like Robert Saleh because I was talking to my buddy. Shout out my boy Devin Phillips. I ain't seen him in all those years, and we met up at a game, the last game that I was at, and he was like, "We need a guy that's a leader of men, that can help support, Shane Steichen." Because in all honesty, I don't believe Shane Steichen is a leader of men, not in a negative way.
Well,
hey, gentlemen, I gotta help my granddaughter real quick.
All right, yeah, take your thing. Not in a negative way.
Yeah.
But I believe that he's just more focused on the X's and O's. So when you have all of the controversy that's spinning around, you got, a big talking head like Pat McAfee saying things. You got internal beefs between Zaire and then Pat, and he's being asked all these questions, and he has the answer. And what he really probably wants to say is, I don't fucking care. I care about X's and O's. Like, I don't give two damns about Pat McAfee and Zaire's beef. But when you're asking me stuff like that, what is it? I don't know what that says, Teresa, but it seems like you're upset. But I feel like, he doesn't know how to deal with that. And I think you made this point a while back when it was just me and you on the set. Like, somebody like Jeff Saturday might not have knew shit about, hey, man, this is the right play to call on either side of the ball. Yeah. But I think he understood how to lead men, like how to get them going in one direction. Sure, he had the 33-0, like absolute what the fuck fest and everything else that came in with that season. But I felt like he was a strong personality and it could get people going in a certain direction.
Yeah.
I think Robert Saleh would do that and help support the head coach because you're almost like the assistant coach by being a DC anyway.
Yeah.
Especially when the OC is Jim Bob Cooter.
Yeah. Well, I think you know what, when you're and this is going to just sound absolutely nutty, but it is what it is. If you go the route of going DC, you're probably going to end up looking at like even somebody as strange as, I know this is going to sound crazy. I'm not necessarily campaigning for him, but I'm talking about like from the leadership side. Somebody like Antonio Pierce. Now, mind you, as a head coach, as a head coach, no, absolutely not. But the thing is, for me, like looking at his work as a DC, looking at how he led as a DC, looking at what he was as a DC, he absolutely was a leader. Now, the thing is, he chose an upward promotion in a very dysfunctional franchise. So, I mean, it is what it is. But the thing is, that kind of mindset, like everybody, like I think Dan Campbell is kind of the exception to the rule, because I think that Dan Campbell's success has to do with players buying into him and having two coordinators that are really, really, really good at their job.
Because can I say, I don't think Dan Campbell knows much of shit about what actually happens around him.
Yeah.
I think he's just like, he's like George Washington. They chose George Washington to be the first leader of the country because he was the tallest. He looked a certain way and people got in line, and he rarely even talked. Now, again, I'm not comparing Dan Campbell directly to George Washington, but what I'm getting at is he is definitely a fucking dynamic personality, and motherfuckers will run through a brick wall for him. But I don't know if he knows shit outside of what it is to be a tight end in the NFL. That's just my question.
This is my thing with the new DC, and me and Chris talked about this last week when he was on vacation.
Wait a minute, I just caught that.
I knew it. I was like, there's a shot. That's a shot.
Kill the fuck out. But anyway,
last week we was talking about treating these players like the warriors that they are, not fucking ballerinas that need to be pampered and, told how great they are each time, and, bring them water. Fuck that. Make them go get their own damn water. These guys are warriors. I want my DC to have that warrior mindset to keep infecting the warriors that we have on our team. Mm-hmm. That's what I want out of I want the aggressiveness. I think Adam J said Saleh's Bradley 2.0, and he's not wrong there, but he has more of that warrior mindset. You know, he's that guy that will bow up his chest and get everybody fired up.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
look,
know, that's what I want out of my DC. Man, in this game today, you can go one of 15 ways with any kind of scheme.
right.
And it just depends on what coordinator you put in there is the way you're going to go with that scheme.
I mean, that's
But
fair.
it's that mindset that sets the tone for everything.
True.
And if these guys are coming on the field snorting like bulls ready, you know how a bull will snort. You know, they're ready to go out there and
How are
friggin-
you going with that?
I want my guys
No.
ready to kill. That's where I'm going with it.
That
If
was
a bull
going in a
snorts at
completely
you,
different
your ass
direction.
is done for. I'm just telling you right now.
Jesus Christ.
Look, Clyde, you're in Texas. You go jump a fence.
What
Go
the
find
yo?
out.
What?
Go find out.
You can't say
And
that.
then
You can't say
country
that.
bumpkin out there knows what a bull can do.
Oh my god.
So
This is
understand
part
why
of
you-
Aaron. Chill the hell out. Okay, yeah, facts.
Yes.
He's definitely.
That's
on
what
the
I. That's
Jared
what I.
But- Gerard
That's what.
Butler shit.
But I'm just saying. That's what I want. I want that warrior mindset from my players, and I want it from my DC.
Okay, true. But so here's the thing. It's not even a but. It's really what the truth in the matter is. You have to look at tendencies of failure over the last few years of the Colts defense as the new DC coming in. Because what you're not going to sell me on is, yeah, I know you guys suck at tackling, and I'm going to improve that by we're going to tackle more on the dummy. Like, nah, you're right. There's got to be a way to approach this because any Pee-wee football fucking head coach can say, I can make you tackle better. But no, there's got to be some commitment. Like one of my best friends, Marty Shorter, he says it best. There should absolutely be some type of fucking stat for missed tackles, like it is a stat for tackles made, so that can be a denotion of pay. Like, think about it. The Colts, bro, we led the league in missed tackles. I think at the end of the game, I think we were at like 154 for the year.
Yeah. I think
What
it was 149 mid-game when they
Mid-game. So I
mentioned
think it
that.
was like 154 by the end of the game. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So
Yep, Teresa, that's
Thi-
what I want.
yeah, this person's got to come in. He's got to talk about failure tendencies, i.e., look, these dudes couldn't tackle for shit. Number one. Number two, not here trying to throw more gasoline on the fire, but can anybody in this room, Shane Steichen, Chris Ballard, Jim Irsay, and whoever else is sitting around the table, tell me why on 3rd and 4 you guys are playing bail technique? What the fuck is that? Like, is a DC? Like, you're gonna leave that room like the nerve of this motherfucker, but at the same time, like, nah, like that's who the fuck we need because he's telling us to our face, like, how are you approving that? How are you saying when that call comes across you, like, no, it's 3rd and 4, and the middle of the field has been wide open all game, and guess what? We're going to support that by giving them just that. And Zaire Franklin breaks the huddle and calls that bullshit play that just came over his headset. How can you watch that for 18 fucking weeks and be like, that's okay? Like,
Facts.
and on top of that, let's talk about one last failure tendency. How many times did y'all give up 3rd and 10 or greater? So you get a dude, or I'm sorry, you get a player sacked, and you get a team in 2nd and 17 or something like that. And then on 3rd and 17, either you give them the first down or you give them a massive chunk of it. And you're like, you know what? It's new age football. We go for 4th downs now in the first quarter. Now it's 4th and 1, and we just had them 3rd and 16. We're going for it. How many times did y'all do that? So what I'm saying is, why am I the guy if I'm the DC? Because that shit doesn't fly.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers getting snatched off the field. We're playing the right coverage on down and distance because isn't that what you do on offense? There's a certain down and distance. That means this is the call. Shouldn't it be the same on defense? Like, those are the questions I'm asking, and I'm going to be vehement when I'm speaking because they need to understand, like, whoever comes and takes this job, the fucking verdict is out. Like, it's going to be on you, bro, to get this shit in the right direction. I'm not just saying, hey, I got a promotion. It's on you to get this shit in the right direction. And the Colts have never, that's what I also would bring up. They have never been a feared defense. Even with Freeney and Mathis and Bob Sanders, we were always still the bottom of the fucking barrel. We have never been a feared defense. And you want to talk about a culture change? Let's switch to Pat McAfee. That's the culture change. We're snorting like bulls. On the fucking hawk. Okay. There's my rant for the night.
Now, and let me throw this out there to you guys, because I read it on Twitter, and I forget the guy who said it, so I can't give credit to it. But it's not my thought. But he said,
"Thank you, Teresa.
Zaire has the most tackles in the league because our defense couldn't get off the field."
I mean, Chris has been saying it all season.
I'm like,
and he only has 93 individual tackles and 8.
I've not heard him say it once.
Well, you also took this DEI vacation because your little shoulder is stinging or some shit.
But
so.
It is definitely something Chris would say. I'm not saying you didn't say it. I just remember
everybody hates Chris.
It's I'm telling you, it's just like if I'm nothing else is consistent, I'm telling you. But the issue, like I said, we like celebrating the tackles. To me, it's like it's a double-edged sword because it's an individual accomplishment on a very, very bad defense. And the problem with that is you have the tackles, but there's not much else. So it's not like we can say like, tackles aren't something that are going to give you Defensive Player of the Year consideration. It's not something that's going to give you All Pro consideration. It'll maybe get you Pro Bowl consideration, but the Pro Bowl is a fan vote. Yeah. So for me, it irritates my soul how much emphasis by him there was put on there because of the fact that it's just like, yes, be happy because of your individual achievements, but also look at the state of this defense that you're a part of and understand that while you have a great individual accomplishment, this defense looked bad. He looked bad during the year. It just so happened that he was able to make sure that he got just enough tackles to make sure that he was number one in tackling. But it means for nothing. And that's what Zaire Franklin is what we have come to see for the summation of this team. Because we can say he is a player that is hell-bent on making sure that he is getting those individual achievements while the rest of the unit that he's playing with looks like crap, including him. But he just so happens to be doing well enough to go ahead and be the tackling king for the year.
Hold on now, wait a minute. We're not gonna crush Z. Z's my dude. But I'll say this. I'm not gonna pander. Here's what I say. This is what is wrong with Z and EJ. It took me a while to really think about this. Both of them are in the wrong position. Call the New York Giants and see what it's going to take to bring Bobby O back. Slap Bobby O in the middle of this fucking defense as the no-kidding quarterback of the defense and put Zaire and EJ on the side of them, and those three linebackers will fucking shine. Zaire's too small to play the middle. He gets washed every fucking time. And with Kenny on the field, he really gets washed because guess what? Kenny is fucking tiny. So we almost need somebody who's going to run a hybrid defense, a true hybrid defense, because the other thing I'll be saying as a DC, to get the best out of your up-and-coming next best player that's loud to, he needs not be fucking hands in the ground. We need to stand his ass up and blitz and rush him off the side like that and let him drop. He is not a traditional DN that's going to eat by just having his hands in the ground and trying to win. You need to stand him up and make those fucking tackles struggle for their life because he's flying right by him. That's how you get the best out of him. Now you're getting Samson back so you can, play more of those traditional sets. But that's why I said we need a true hybrid defense where we are able to switch back and forth between 3-4 and 4-3 based on personnel. Put me at the DC. I'm what Teresa said. Put me at the fucking DC. Let me run.
What? I'm sorry. I'm
excited now. I'm ready to fucking roll. Chris, you know me. Put me
need
on this motherfucker.
Listen, I'm telling you right now. It's just like let me out there. First order of business. I'm glad Adam J brought it up because you know what? I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I really don't. But all I'm going to say is Taven Bryan, Raekwon Davis, get the fuck out because I am sick of both
tonight.
of them. Like
I'm roll tonight.
Like the fact that Taven Bryan and Raekwon Davis exist on this roster, while Jonah Lualu, who was the 7th round pick for us, went over to the Raiders and actually went and has better stats than both them combined. Get him out.
That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. And that's not the first time that's happened. This is
you guys were just dogging 6th, 7th round starters earlier.
Oh no! I know. No, I'm not dogging. No, I'm not dogging. I'm not dogging.
Try to do that shit back.
I'm not. I didn't dog 6th, 7th round picks. I dogged the fact that Chris Ballard trades down to get more picks for later. To get later picks, and then the later picks end up leaving anyway.
Yeah,
but the thing is, you're ultimately so Pat. That
competition.
The fact that you're telling me that you go into this draft with 7 draft picks, you have 10, and you know that 9 times out of 10 you're only going to keep 60 to maybe 70% of those picks. What the fuck was the point of trading down for them anyway? You could have just kept them and made sure that you're getting higher caliber players. But no. You got rid of players, and then they went over and they thrived on different teams. So what was the point? It's a failed process.
I'm gonna answer Adam J's question right now. We are at least 3. 2 corners that can actually play man coverage, and a true ball hawking free safety. And that's no knock on Julian or Nick, because I know they've both played in both spots. But I'm saying they also have bad reads and they miss badly. I've seen Nick Cross be completely out of fucking what they call it, out of phase. They're like, Nick, where the hell you at? I've seen Julian whiff on so many tackles. Now he was playing with a bum shoulder again. Apparently, that's what came out.
Labrum and played
torn labrum. But I mean, buddy, what the fuck, you're not looking like Jumpman Jew from your first year and a half. When I was like, yo, this dude's a star. He ain't looked like that. So Wink Martinell's defense requires man corners that can but stick to their guys and let that action happen. That's what we need. And I don't think we got that quite yet, Adam J. Not even fucking close. and don't get me wrong, Kenny's getting a little long in the tooth for solid coverage. Still love Kenny. Still love him on support. Still love him, blitz him off the edge here and there to get exotic. But Kenny doesn't have the wheels that he once had. I mean, rightfully so. He's pushing 30 years old, and he's chasing around guys that got 1, 2, 3 twitch, right? We've seen Kenny get beat bad in New York. Kenny got cooked by neighbors. Cooked.
Yeah, but
Chef Swag
neighbors. This is Malik neighbors.
I don't care who it is. I'm saying Kenny is old in the tooth now. That doesn't mean get rid of him. That means he needs to be more situational. What could happen? Okay, because Clyde still working his magic. Drop Kenny ass back in the safety.
Okay, no, that I'm with. But the thing is, once again, we
take away some of all that running.
We need corners, and the fact that we started off the year with Daryl Baker Jr. and Dallas Flowers probably didn't help matters much at all. But the thing is, like I said, we go ahead, we make some moves in this one. You never know.
Hey, that's a natural transition. Usually slot corners, hell, even edge corners, they make their way towards the end of their career. They make their way to the back end. Maybe it's time to start thinking about that, because that changes a lot of things. He still has great instincts. He can still cover, but you're not forcing him to be the main coverage in a true nickel all the time in the slot. I don't know. He's a bridge for whoever the next guy is, right? Whoever you're going to bring in, maybe he becomes that bridge. Not saying he's a 5-year guy, but shit, the next 2 years, he could be a bridge. Just thoughts. Yeah, Kenny's getting old. We just got to be realistic. All the guys that were great during this regime, that's what I always say. When you think about this, Pat, you know how I used to say this so much on the old podcast. Yep. For every fucking season, they're another year old. Quentin Nelson is amazing. 7 straight All-Pros. He's going into year 8. Shaq Leonard, my boy behind me, he gone. Fucking JT going into year 6? or 5?
5.
5? I mean, bro, like football years happen like dog years. You blink, and you're like, damn, when was you in the league for 10 years? What the fuck happened? And that's where we are. So we have had a nucleus, a core that has been incredible. And they are aging in football years. None of them are quite 30 outside of Defoe, but 30 in NFL years, you might as well be 58. How old are you, Pat? Yeah, you, Omaha. All right, bro. We got to get the hell out of here because this has been a great conversation and I love it, but I don't want to get docked to start the new year. So, Chris, where can they find you?
At CJ Coltsfin on Twitter. His mom called him Twitter, so I'm gonna call him Twitter. And yeah,
Twitter. You gonna call him Quitter?
Twitter.
Like the rest of the
Twitter.
No, I'm sorry.
Twitter.
I'm not gonna shot the mob. The mob quit. Josh Harris, bring your ass back to the fold. He said I'm sitting out 2025. Josh,
wait.
you my dog.
Speaking of the mob, don't they owe us something?
Chris, did you lose?
Oh wait, I gotta go tally the points. I gotta tally the points.
Y'all lost, bro.
Big way. You don't have to tally shit.
I'm not gonna take the trash talk from somebody who had the auto draft.
Okay, Pat, where can they find you?
Big P Colts.
Hey man, we are not about calling people out on bad things.
No, hell no. No, call them out. Hell no.
You can find
ain't not a
powder. You can find me at Colts, Clyde, or the X. Chris called it Twitter because that's what his mama named him. I'm getting with the times. I'm on the X. But last but not least, thank you, fans, for all the good and the bad. I'm never afraid to have good conversation. I make a lot of jokes. You got to keep it light. You only live once. Let's not kill each other and fight over football and everything else. Let's not make it political. We all got different views, and I'm here for all that. So you guys know my face. You know who I am. I see Jeremy. We're doing some back and forth, bro. It's all love. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate everybody that stops by the page and the show each and every night. We love you guys. And so, hey, all we can do for 25 is hope for a better future. And with that, Sammy, take us out of here.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.